This is the Backlog Exposed podcast with Kevin Lane and Joel Rubel, bringing you weekly discussions on gaming as well as quick insights into sports, entertainment, and anything else that they can think of.
A little bit of something.
Be sure to check out the backlogexposed.com, where you can listen to the podcast and get links to Twitter, Discord, YouTube, and Facebook.
I'm Joe.
I'm Kevin.
And we are
The Backlog
Exposed. Yeah!
Now, gear up and get ready because this backlog is about to be exposed.
What is up, Joey Joe? It's good to hear from you, man. How you doing today?
Well, man, living a dream, so they say.
Now, is it a nightmare or is it a dream?
Well, I'm having a dream. Little backstory here. Had a cyst on my right hand. It ended up getting popped playing softball. No big deal. Went to the VA hospital in Lexington, Kentucky. Shout out VA hospital because they are badass, by the way. So I'm in there getting my hand looked out, and they're like, yeah, they said you had mentioned your leg was hurt. I'm like, yeah, just my left leg's sore at the bottom for some reason, whatever. Well, 4 hours later, I found out I got a blood clot in my leg, bro.
3 hours later.
Took me a minute to get to that one.
That's a true story, though, dude. It's literally 3 or 4 hours later, I found I had a blood clot in my leg.
Dude, I was nervous for you. I gotta set the tone for everybody here. Being Joe's friend is like you're not sure if the bottle rocket is pointed at you or away from you. Like you're constantly you get a message from Joe, and you're like, oh shit, is something wrong? You gotta you don't know if he broke his damn neck, his ankle, his wrist, his fingers. He could call you up and be like, every tooth in my head just fell out of my fucking head. And I wouldn't be surprised because Joe is a goddamn cyborg at this point. So.
Now, you're right, man. Since you've known me, I've had nose surgery. I've had shoulder surgery. I've had hand surgery. Broke my back. Hurt my ribs. Hurt my hand. And now I got a blood clot. I'm a walking disaster, bro.
Yeah, dude, and you're rubbing off on me because I don't know. I
am rubbing off on you because now you got carpal tunnel. Hey, we're brothers at heart now because guess what? I just got diagnosed with carpal tunnel.
we gotta rename this podcast to Broken Old Men.
Dude, no kidding. Broken old dudes.
Well, it is episode number 45, and as you can tell, we're on fire today. We're ready to go, and by fire. I'm telling you, man. I've been talking about this game for quite some time. I have not played a whole lot of Battlefield 5. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. But to be honest, I haven't really played a whole lot of anything over the last 5-6 weeks. I've been moving. I've been juking and driving. I've been dealing with my fucking wrists. I've been dealing now with my elbows. Hardly sleeping. But I'll tell you what I'm doing is I'm gonna be playing Firestorm. Now I don't know if you got a chance to look at some of those videos I sent you, Joe, but Firestorm news is all over the place, and it is getting some pretty good feedback. I mean, the first thing that got released was a launch trailer, and EA likes to do this, and DICE likes to do this with cinematic trailers. And the cinematic trailer really, I think, puts a damper on. I mean, it's cool, it looks great, right? But that's not the actual game you're going to be playing, even if it's built in the engine itself. The game is going to be a lot different than a cinematic trailer. But then the gameplay footage started leaking, and the different classes started leaking, and all sorts of things. I gotta tell you, man, we were talking a couple weeks ago about this and how, they better have destruction, they better have, the core elements of Battlefield, and it really looks like it's gonna have it. It's gonna have vehicles. It's gonna have like a whole assortment of vehicles, by the way. On top of that, you got the fire coming in. It looks like you can catch on fire if you get outside the fire perimeter. And I don't know if that permeates, if you get back in, if you get put out right away, or you could residually die after that. But Joe, did you check any of this stuff out?
Yeah, man, some of those game trailers are ridiculous. I mean, I think that's why Battlefield 5 waited, because obviously this is their first battle royale. Now, granted, there's been 82 give or take a number or two Battle Royale games being put out now. So I think instead of them just jumping on the bandwagon, they're like, you know what? Let's dial it back. Let's find out what everybody's missing. Let's find out what we can add, and let's find out what the people would like. And I think for them leaving in the whole Battlefield aspect of blowing stuff up and destruction and building, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just Battlefield, man. And don't get me wrong, dude. I've never been a big Battlefield person. I've played it. I played it with you for a while. It's more of a slow-paced game. You know what I mean? It's more strategic. It is. You got healers and medics, and you got snipers. You got this, which is awesome.
Well,
I never got into it.
Yeah, whenever I jump into a Battlefield 5 game, I mean, they take 40 minutes per round if you're on the big conquest maps and stuff. But that's the thing that I love about Battlefield. And, we talked about this between Fortnite and Apex Legends and all that. Battlefield, while it's a first-person shooter, it's always set itself apart because the type of games aren't even close to as fast-paced as a Call of Duty. And it's just a completely different, more tactical style of gameplay. But now you have the Battle Royale, which, when you're playing Blackout, that Blackout is more like a standard Battlefield look or feel, in my opinion, because, you got the bigger map, you got the slower pace, but you still got the run and gun atmosphere. Which, in any Battlefield 5 map, you can get into close quarters, which is one of the cool things that they do in Battlefield is they always have little cities and little towns and stuff you can get into and have that close quarter play. But then you can be that sniper 400 yards away and just pop, pop, So
that is one fun thing about sniping in Battlefield, though, man. It feels pretty real. But I think Call of Duty figured it out.
They did,
and
for real.
Their Battle Royale, because you still have that that bullet drop, which is awesome. I really like that. It feels more realistic. But I really think if Call of Duty would have incorporated the destruction aspect, like you can blow up cars and you can blow up the vehicles and all that stuff, which is cool. But I think if you were to throw a grenade into a building, I think a wall should blow out. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I like the fact that in Battlefield games, if you're inside of a building, you're not safe just because
No, I've been blown out plenty of times.
unless you're Joe and I in the beta. You remember that in Battlefield 1?
Dude, we got 2 tanks shot at us, blew up the entire building but one wall, and we survived and came out and destroyed people, man. I
remember that day laughing so hard, saying, I can't wait to play the shit out of this game. And then for some reason, it just didn't happen. But that was a lot of fun.
I really enjoyed the beta, though. It was fun, man. I think at the time it was probably something new to everybody, and we were all tired of the same, same burnout games and all that.
Well, at that point, too, Call of Duty wasn't, that was before World War II came out.
Oh, so, damn, was it really?
Yeah, that was the beta right before WW2 dropped, and we were, we were antsy for WW2, but the beta had come out for Battlefield 1, and we jumped in, and then, I think WW2 came out a couple weeks later, and we all got kind of dropped into that and didn't ever go back to Battlefield 1. That's my, the point of, we talked about it back then, the backlog, right? We have all these great games. I enjoy Battlefield immensely. I like just getting in there and playing, but who has the time to play 40-minute matches? And
yeah, that's kind of crazy, man. I didn't realize that they would be that long. That's like Call of Duty, game types. They can get into I think 25 minutes is the max you can play a Call of Duty round. It's almost like Fortnite. They have a set amount of time to where you can play. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
which is smart in my opinion.
In Battlefield, it's like the first to 500 kills, right? And that could take a while depending on the teams, especially if people are good. But when you have 64 players on the map, you're dropping into, and there's just like any other game, you're gonna have a lot of shit and a lot of good. So I'll tell you what, I'm really liking the trailers. I'm really liking what we're seeing in the in the initial gameplay. Although it's leaked footage, so it's going to be selective. I'm sure they leaked it on purpose, or they're not worried about it being out there.
I've come to a realization that anytime you see leaked video game footage,
You know what
it's
that
leaked
means?
for a reason.
Oh yeah. These days.
It's not accidentally shared or someone from inside got it. It's like, no, we're gonna throw this out there. We're gonna label it leaked so everybody gets excited, and then we
Yep.
get feedback on it, and then we
Oh,
change
yeah.
it for whatever comes out, so people can be like, oh, that's bullshit. I watched the trailer and there was, 14 different vehicles and there's only 12, and you're like, nah, man, that was a leaked trailer. We didn't
Yeah, that wasn't
have anything
even
to do with that.
that wasn't the final version. That's
Which
why
is
Apex.
smart, dude. I mean, think about it. You drop a trailer like, oh, dude, I can't wait to use X, Y, and Z guns. Oh, man, those guns look stupid. I'm never going to use those. Whoop, let's just take those out of the fucking picture real quick, and they'll never know they were there.
Or like you could pull a Call of Duty and do let's just release the game, and then a couple months later, after people have given us credit for not putting battle packs in, let's start throwing battle packs in that people can pay for.
Or you can just be like Apex and not give a shit about nothing and just drop the game on a Monday night,
Yep.
and then it break every record out there.
I was watching Dr. Disrespect's response to seeing the initial trailer, the cinematic trailer on this, and he said it very succinctly. He said, "This is great for the battle royale genre," and I can't agree more. I mean, it doesn't matter if this is good or bad. This is a big player. It's jumping in, and it looks to be, at least, it's going to be a solid game. I mean, all the Battlefield games have pretty solid stability, pretty solid gameplay. I mean, it gets a lot of shit because it's EA, but if Battlefield broke off at EA tomorrow and produced the same exact game, they would have a different rating. People would, but there's politics involved. They put the girl on the front, and they said, don't buy it if you don't like it. They did some stupid things, and it causes people to run away in droves. And you can like it or hate it, but I just stop and look at the gameplay itself. I enjoy it. I'm super looking
Well, that's
forward to
what happens, man, when you get
this.
a game designer that puts out some shitty product and then they try to come back with a really good product, and people's like, no, man, I fell for this shit 10 times. I am not purchasing another EA game. I mean, they did it to themselves. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's just, I think Apex is a good game. I don't like playing it. It's just not my cup of tea. But the times that I have played it, it is fun. It's crazy. It's fast paced.
They're
you
doing
can
the
die
right
in
thing.
1 second or die in 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're doing the right thing with they came out, they put the revive system in, which all the other games are now talking about implementing in some aspect. Apex did a couple of things really good that all the other battle royales were like, oh shit, we didn't think about that. And so, in Fortnite, there's leaks that the vans that are from Save the World are going to be dispersed throughout the island, and you'll be able to revive your team members in the same style as Apex. Same with Call of Duty. I think that there's been rumors about something like that. I mean, I don't know how concrete those are, but the fact is, they have a player base. And one of the things I wanted to talk about in a few minutes was how they got that player base. But before we do, there was one other leak today that I just read about while we're sticking with EA, and it is the EA Access. Have you heard of this? The EA Access on Xbox?
Not really. I've heard of the Xbox or the just the regular Xbox stuff that you can go to. Not
So
EA Access.
So all these companies, Origin and EA, pretty much the same thing there. And on the computer, you can get like Origin Access Pack, right? And for a certain amount of money per month, you have access to a bucket of games, kind of like the PlayStation Now and there's the Xbox Game Pass. So EA has a pass, and the EA Pass, I mean, it has every sports game that they do, all the EA sports games. And right now on the Xbox, you can go get all the 2019, so Madden, whatever, right? And you can find these EA Access passes on eBay for like $14 or something for a year, $19 a year. And you have access to a whole gamut of games. Now, just like PlayStation Live or all these things, or PlayStation Plus, you have to pay to have them. And once you sign out or stop paying, and your year is up, well then the access to those games go away. But you download them just like you would any other game. And the craziest thing is it's not been available on the PlayStation. and it's been out for years. And I've used it on the Xbox. I just don't go to my Xbox near as much as I go to my PlayStation. So the reason I'm telling you all this is somebody leaked in another country, and I don't even know where it was, like, off the top of my head. But there's a rumor that the store accidentally had an image, EA Access now available on PlayStation. And so this is big news if this is true, because if it's the same price, I mean, if you can pay $19 and have access to Madden 2019, NBA 2019, all these EA games that are all solid games, as well as all the content. I mean, you get Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, I believe Battlefield 5's on there. So there's a whole lot of reasons to have EA Access. You get early access to games like Anthem and things like that. Discounts on purchases if you want to actually pay to buy them. But you don't need to. If you're only paying $19 a year, you have them perpetually. And the library is pretty good. I mean, even if it's only 20, 25 games, a lot of these are games like FIFA that people play religiously. So you could pay $60 for the whole game, and next year you're going to have to pay $60 again for another one.
I think that's kind of crazy, though, dude, because, if they're offering something like that for $20 a year, that'd be badass just to buy it, just for the fact that you have all those games you can go and try.
Yeah, I mean,
PlayStation, you have you can do the PlayStation Now, but it's $20 a month. Granted, you can play every PS3 game. There's like 1,000-something games.
Yeah,
for $20 a month.
But those are old games.
Well, they got new PS4 games there now.
Well, true, but I'm saying
they got quite a bit of new PS4 games, because I was playing The Crew 2 on there. They got Gran Turismo on there. There's a lot of PS4 games now coming over to that PlayStation Now, which is interesting, but at the same time, it's like, damn, do I really want to spend $20 a month? But think about it. If you spend $20 a month, and let's say in that month you spent 30 hours on, The Crew 2 and beat it. Well, guess what? You spent $20 for the game versus $60.
Exactly. Now, when my son's older, and playing more games rather than just playing one game over and over and over again. I mean, when I was a kid, I'd play 5 different games a week. I'd beat the hell out of all those games,
Yeah, but we also were able to go to Blockbuster.
Exactly. Well, having access to something like that, you'd rent it and then you'd focus on it for 3 days and try to beat it and turn it back in. But yeah, so to your point, I think it's worth it even still, right? $20 a month if we used to rent games for $8 for 3 days. So
I guess I would really be a
perspective.
fan of it if they dropped it down to $9.99.
I agree. I'd probably do it if it was $9.99.
Just for I would buy it just because. I mean, what's $20 a month isn't a lot, but it's up. Just enough to get you to say, you know what? I might not even play that many games this month, yet it's only $20. But I'm like, I just think more of an audience would grab it for $9.99 versus $19.99.
I 100% agree. And that's why I have EA Access on my Xbox. I've had it for 3 years. And I've only played a couple games on it. But, I mean, you want to go play Battlefield Bad Company 2, you can go get it right now. You can download it on Xbox One. I mean, that's what's awesome about that is the ease of access to some of these games, especially with the digital, genre. I love the digital aspect. And so, now I have a faster internet connection.
I just wish there was a way to have like a profile online versus downloading the games to your system. You know what I mean? I wish there was a way to so PlayStation Now, which is actually interesting, you can stream those games.
Well, it's actually pretty funny, Joe, that you said that. I don't know if this was a segue of yours, but I'm going to chalk it up as that. Because have you heard the rumors about the new Google system?
No, I have not. Let's hear about it.
All right. Well, then your segue was just by chance, and that's what you do, man. You're solid. You know what's up. So there's been a bunch of rumors. Have you heard about there's a lot of chatter online about new Sonic stuff. So I think it's a Sonic TV show. They're talking about Sonic Dash and a couple of Sonic Racing or something. Well,
yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it turns out, and this is a pretty concrete rumor, that Google is about to release a console. And I don't know if it's going to be a virtual console, like over Google Chrome, or if it's going to be an actual console you have to buy. But it's been referred to as the streaming console, and it is supposedly going to be headlined by this Sonic game. Now, a controller has been seen in the wild, or at least, there's releases. If you just Google the Google controller, you'll see it. And so all of this is hypothetical at this point, but they're saying by the end of March, there's probably going to be a Google console, and it's going to be a streaming-based console. Now, who knows, right? I mean, this could all be bullshit, but it seems to be legit. And on top of that, I got a chance to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on a streaming service provided by Google back, 5 months ago or so. And it was done through Google Chrome. And all I had to do was log in on Google Chrome and play, through the computer. And there was nothing downloaded. It was instant. And I'll tell you, it was as good as could be. The graphics were phenomenal coming over my laptop. All the processing power is done on the other end. So they've just really enhanced the ability to stream this stuff. And the bandwidth has gotten good enough to be able to send from A to B fast enough to be able to play these games. And the fact is, if you think about it, Joe, when we're playing these battle royales and whatnot, and things are happening so fast, even just Call of Duty, the optimization and being able to ensure that when I shoot you and you shoot me, we're both seeing the same exact things. I remember 10 years ago, every time you got killed, you're like, oh, the guy was around the corner, bullshit. But that's getting better.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting better. And while there always is going to be challenges and stuff to that, you hit the nail on the head. You wish there was a profile online so you didn't have to download all this shit. And Google would make all these companies, Netflix, everybody, nobody wants to be transmitting that much data. It looks bad for them. Netflix doesn't, they're not proud of the fact that they have like 40% of all the internet traffic or 60% of all the internet traffic is just Netflix traffic. I mean, it's a good stat, but it also puts them on the firing block when people come along and say, well, you should pay
this
more.
Is the actual controller that's coming out. It looks badass.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It looks like a fatter PlayStation controller.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that?
I'm down, dude, because, like I was saying about the PlayStation Now, like it's interesting because, for me, when I download a game, I'll play it for a couple months and I won't play it again for 6 months. But I don't like deleting stuff because I don't want to wait the whatever time and then the updates and all of that. So with PlayStation Now, you have the option to download the game or stream the game. Excuse me. And with your, that's personal preference. I'm going to download it so I'll have it instantly. Or I'm going to download it because my internet speed's not the greatest. But where I'm at, I got 75, so that's plenty enough speed to stream, to, do whatever. So when I had the trial version, or I think I bought it for a few months, I just got on there, picked a game, played it, and I was streaming. No lag, no nothing. And to me, that should be the future of gaming. There, it's instant. You ain't got to worry about console space. You ain't got to worry about this. You ain't got to worry about that. It's just, to me, it's interesting. And I'm going to bring it back a long years ago to the Sega Saturn. They were the first company to have an online virtual store. Do you remember that?
I do. I didn't have a Sega Saturn, but I do recall what you're talking about.
My uncle had it, and you would go to this TV channel or this certain whatever, and you could play video games, dude. I remember that. And it's just funny that, Sega, like I think I might have mentioned it in, some of our early podcasts, that Sega was literally the creator of everything we do today, believe it or not. They were the first disc-based system. They were the first system with the internet. They were the first at everything that we have today. But yet, once Sony and Xbox or Microsoft got on board, they just bulldozed them, man. They didn't have the money. They didn't have, the people behind it. But everything you see today, in my opinion, came from Sega.
It's interesting, definitely, especially when you look back at just how those early challenges between the different companies played out, and how even Sony was working with Nintendo to put together a system and then broke off and built the PlayStation instead.
Oh, yeah.
But at the time,
I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world, dude. You know good and well that if it had been a PlayStation Nintendo collaborated system, it probably wouldn't have done as good.
Yeah, and it would be a different world today if that never broke off. I mean, I think the competition was huge. But you talk about Sega, and when I was a kid, I mean, it was Nintendo and Sega system. That was it. Those were the competitors. And Sega was huge, but I remember, not everyone had a Sega, but everyone had a Nintendo. People who had a Sega probably didn't even have the Nintendo because they were just like anti-Nintendo or whatever. But
yeah,
the Google coming into the market, Google's a big dog. I mean, one of the biggest dogs in the world. So,
well, they have enough money, dude. They don't give a shit. Honestly, they could create $4 billion worth of consoles and not even sell 2 billion of them. They don't give a shit. They're like, oh, that was fun. I mean, just look at Bezos from Amazon, dude. He don't like.
They have so much money.
Care.
Money
that
doesn't
dude
even
will drop billions of dollars on a product and be like, all right, this is going to be a good idea. I'm going to go with it. And then it comes back and it flopped. And you know what he says? Cool. I'll take the rest of that remaining money and I'm going to push it to this project. And we're going to go with this.
Yeah.
I mean, people call him crazy, but look at this guy. He's worth $80 billion or something crazy now.
It's stupid. And as a data analyst, I say that a lot on the show, but I do data analytics, and I've not as much as I used to in the past. Excuse me, but data in the sense of today's world, especially to these companies like Google, who basically have never-ending flows of money, which is hard for you and I to imagine. But how do you keep that, right? If it's no longer about the cash flow because you have it, how do you ensure? Like Fortnite, for example, we talked about this quite a bit. Like, okay, there's going to be somebody else that comes and dethrones Fortnite. But until then, how do they stay on top? How does Facebook stay as the number one social media platform? There's a couple different tactics going on here. So Google, for example, they throw their cash, their loose change, so to speak, at all these ideas. Some of them stick and take off and make them way more money. Others, like Google Plus, right? Google Plus, they put money into. They tried and tried and tried. It's done. I mean, I think in a couple of months that they're folding that service, but they're willing to walk away.
I'll tell you a good example that you're talking about is Google Glass.
Yeah.
They spent a shit ton of money for Google Glass, and it didn't go anywhere.
But here's the thing, though, that I think is so interesting is they innovate, they push the market, but then they collect the data. They understand using the data that it's no longer viable or it's no longer worth their time and money, and they back off, like instantly. They'll cancel a project, and that's why I worry a little bit about a Google system. Part of me wonders if this is just a way for them to, start obtaining more data, because, again, it's not necessarily mind control type data. It's just data to
Well, I don't know,
observe.
man. I think this is something that they're dipping into because there's a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere. It's not like a VR glasses or a, whatever. This is something that has been going since the early 80s.
Yep.
Strong with Nintendo.
It's stronger every year.
Year after year is getting massive, massive, and massive. So they're like, you know what? We have the money to do it. We just got to figure out what we can do and be different, but sell product. And I mean, they may come out with something that, hell, man, blows Sony and Xbox back into the drawing board and be like, oh, shit, man, Google done brought out a system that's got X, Y, and Z on it and blah, 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 and, whatever. Because
what I hope doesn't happen.
Everyone knows what Google is. I'm just saying.
Yep. What I hope doesn't happen is more exclusivity. Like, I hate the fact that you can only get certain titles on the Xbox as opposed to the PlayStation. I get it.
Well, they
right?
just do that to be assholes, man. I'm just saying.
Well, no, it's to differ. I mean, I understand. It's why would you, if you already have a PlayStation, why do you need to get an Xbox, right? If all the games were the same, and vice versa. But if you look at Xbox or Microsoft right now, they're paving the way to put Xbox Live on your iPhone, Xbox Live on your Android device, and potentially the Switch. Probably not the PlayStation, but I've actually been reading over the last week or two that that's a possibility, right? If you could get Xbox games and use Xbox Live service on your PlayStation, maybe they don't need to spend all that money on the console. Maybe they put money into games, and that's
that's the smartest fucking thing you could ever do.
But that's what happened to Sega. That's what happened to Sega. Sega said, you know what? Developing the console isn't as important as the games, and they changed gears. And Sega's still around today. But look, Xbox, they're a behemoth. But do they want to continue?
Well, yeah, but you got to think though too, man. There's more money in making games
There is.
than they are consoles.
Yep, and they've
Way
said
more
it.
money.
So let Sony and Google be the behemoths now in the next 5th generation console or whatever we're at
I
now.
could see that happening, dude, because shit's Sega's last video game was the Dreamcast, right?
Yep. Well, I don't think if Microsoft runs into another scenario where like the Xbox One, I mean, there was so much crap that happened during that launch that caused a lot of disgruntled customers. I mean, I myself, I was an Xbox person. I switched over to PlayStation at that point. I would have stayed at Xbox if it wasn't like, hey, this is pre-bundled with the Kinect. You have to have the Kinect on at all times. We're going to observe who's in your living room. We're going to tailor ads based off of how many people are in your room and who's looking at the fucking television. Like that stuff creeped me out. And there's no doubt that they're still looking to have that level of detail, right? Because that's data. But Google's like, hey, by the way, we already have all that information. We're already in your house. We're already looking at your eyeballs. We know who's in your room. So now we have a system for you, and we know you're going to buy it because
you ain't lying there.
But
if you have an Alexa or a Google, what's those Google devices called?
Yeah, the pods. I mean, what the hell are they called? I got them all.
Either way, if you have an Alexa or you have one of those Google things in your house, hey man, fair warning, motherfuckers listening. I'm just saying.
If they're not today, they will be tomorrow. If you know what I mean. But
yeah,
hey,
for real.
Not to keep us on pace here. Couple more bits of news real quick, and then I want to jump into our next segment. So, we talked a little bit about Apex, and I mentioned how they got their user base. Well, turns out they paid Ninja $1 million to stream Apex Legends for one day, and that's all hypothetical, right? There's no guarantee. He didn't come out and say this, but these are the rumors coming out that
I'd believe it.
Yeah, well, if Ninja got paid $1 million, you know that the other guys that all played religiously day one were probably getting paid 6 figures as well. They probably shelled out a good $10 million on one day just to ensure that this game went over. But they did state, and I think it's illegal not to, or to they have to disclose this type of stuff. They said that they paid for that launch, but then all streamers were streaming because they wanted to after the first day, as opposed to getting paid perpetually. But they also set up some tournaments and things like that, so that these streamers, not only they get a boatload of change to play right off the bat, but they also had something to work towards. So if the viewership wasn't there, like for example, there's a game called Creative Destruction, which is mobile and computer. It's similar to Fortnite, not as good graphics and not as fast paced or anything like that. But they did like a $75,000 tournament or whatever one day, and they got a bunch of eyeballs on it, and it just didn't take. I mean, I'm sure it's still getting people playing, but it didn't take over Fortnite or anything like that. All the players went right back to playing Fortnite. Well, some players have not gone back to Fortnite. Some streamers have stuck with Apex Legends, and but Fortnite actually did a lot of things. We talked about the data. Well, Joe, they went ahead and increased the amount of money that streamers get for their streamer code. They changed a bunch of things about the game that made the streamers want to go back and stream. And they also added in these ranked modes and these ranked tournaments, which are pretty interesting. You and I could jump in tomorrow and potentially be in the running for $600,000 or whatever, a prize pool. So, they're using the data to do the right things. But the fact is, I mean, you take $1 million, you give it to the highest paid and most popular streamer of all time, you're going to get some return on investment, and it looks like they did with the 50 million or however many million players they have out there right now.
Hey man, not to change the subject, but we got to talk about the elephant in the room here, okay?
Let's do it.
Are you with me?
I'm with you. DayZ, is that what you were going to say?
No, I got one date for you. March 28th, 2019. Put it on your calendar.
March 28th. What do we got going on?
PAX East.
Oh shit.
Borderlands 3, baby. Ooh.
So you tell me this right now. You going to PAX or what?
Man, I tried. So, I'll do this in a second, Katie. 1 second. So, that being said, I got in contact with some Lucid Sound individuals, and I got some feedback from it. And there is a young lady gonna be there. Her name is Kara. I'll get her, excuse me, her Twitch information for our next podcast. But she's gonna be there the entire weekend. But she said on Thursday, I think Thursday's the 28th. It's like the first day they're gonna be doing that or whatever. Yeah, Thursday's the 28th is the first day of the actual PAX East event. She's gonna be streaming the entire thing on her Twitch account, and she said she's gonna start interviewing affiliates and other people, and there's gonna be giveaways and all this stuff. So I'm gonna email her tomorrow and ask her if there's a certain time that I can call in or be on there and be one of her interviewed affiliates. And that being said, I'm gonna try and throw out there the Backlog Exposed podcast, maybe if I'm allowed to or whatever, because at that point there's gonna be a ton of people out there. And what's that?
I was gonna say you're one hell of a you got this segue thing down pat. This whole being able to migrate from one topic to another, man. You just jump in and you're like, boom, PAX East, and I'm gonna be doing an interview because, folks, after we wrap up this little bit right here, we're gonna take a little break. We're gonna come back, and I'm gonna interview Joe. That way, he's prepared for this PAX East interview that he's potentially gonna be doing with Lucid Sound. You have to understand, guys. Joe, he talks a lot about Lucid Sound, but and this probably sounds like a sales pitch. It's not. He truly believes in this stuff. We've talked so many times before Lucid came into the picture, like on the headsets and crap, like just dealing with. I've spent hundreds of dollars. I never thought I would spend hundreds of dollars on a headset for a video game, but we've gone back and forth talking about this shit over and over again, and he's satisfied with his Lucid Sound headset. So it seems. He might make $4 or something if you use his code. But the whole point is, this is a company. He's talked with the people inside the company. He's gotten a product that serves him right, and then he's trying to help the company grow because they're not Turtle Beach, right? They're not.
And that's the
Astro.
problem, man. Like you when I'm talking to these, like on Reddit, that's my biggest source. Like I go on there, and I used to go on there and just blast out Lucid Sound, use promo code T. So I stopped doing that. I got talked to a couple of times from Reddit. So I said the hell with it. I'll go behind Reddit.
The 13-year-olds telling you? The 13-year-olds telling you what you can do?
So I said the hell with it. I'll just go behind Reddit and I'll talk to the individual themselves. So what I do is I go on there. I go to gaming headset. There's like 3,000 people subscribed to it. I'll click on new. I'll type in gaming headset. Boom. It filters it out. I go through there, see what people's needing, and I go talk to them. And I've literally, about 2 weeks ago, talked to this guy, and he was like, I want this headset, I want this, I want that. I was like, dude, perfect. Here's a link. Send it to him. He's like, damn, dude, I'm in the UK. They don't ship here. So I said, give me a minute. I literally got on my phone, texted Sarah. I was like, Sarah, I need help with this guy over in UK. He wants this headset. She says, no problem. We can't ship it from the States, but he can go to amazon.co.uk, I think it was, and we have it on there. He goes, he can't use your promo code, but he can at least buy the product he wants from there. And I emailed him back. Boom, he ended up buying that headset. I didn't get no money from it, but guess what? I helped the guy out. That's what I do. And it's not. I'm not gonna get rich off selling these headsets. I promise. But it's the fact that people out here buying Turtle Beaches and all these other headsets. Granted, they're really good, but I got 2 different sets of Turtle Beaches at my house, and they're made of plastic. So you're gonna break it. These headsets that I have, I got the LS20s that I use for my podcast for my actual speakers, and I got the LS31s to play games with, and they're metal. They're heavy duty, man. They're comfortable. They're worth it. And like I said, I didn't make anything off that transaction. I spent like 40 minutes of my day just getting this guy some information. You know what I mean?
But that's Joe. That's
it
the
didn't benefit
best.
me at all.
People through a podcast, it's really hard to observe and understand. That's Joe. Like, for the couple of years that I lived next to this guy, like, if his neighbor is on the porch scratching his head, Joe's going to ask, what's going on? Everything all right? The neighbor will say to Joe, I can't get this couch out. Joe's going to be the person, he won't tell you his arm is in a sling. He's going to take that sling off. He's going to go help you move that couch. And then you'll find out later he's at the ER because his arm's broken again. You know, like, but really, like Joe, that's the kind of person Joe is. And we're going to dive in a little bit deeper here in a few minutes. Before we do, Joe, any other news? I just want to touch on this because it's kind of a funny topic to me. But DayZ is going to launch on Xbox One on March 27th. And then they're going to release it in PS4 later this year. I find this funny because of two reasons. One, I don't buy new laptops or computers that often. Some people, every year they upgrade their computer or whatever. And, so I just rebuilt a computer. I can't even remember how long ago it was, probably 8 years ago, that DayZ launched and as a beta or an alpha or whatever stage it was in, and it went crazy. I mean, it was kind of revolutionary. DayZ was a segment of Arma 3. Basically, people made DayZ off of mods and things off of the Arma 3 game, I think, or Arma 2 engine. And they built this game. It's a survival game where you need to eat and drink. You don't have a map. You have no context of where you're at. You just wake up, and if you die because of starvation, you die, and you lose everything. You might be able to get back to your character and get your gear, but the whole point of the game is survive as long as you can. And there's certain areas on these servers that are very populated, but the whole thing is like this rundown Russian area, trees, cities, a huge map. And when you die, you die. There's no explanation. You might get sniped in the head. You might not even know what happened. It just fades to black and it says dead. I played this game a lot, like 8 years ago. And I remember there was this roadmap of getting it to the PlayStation and all that. That was PlayStation 3. And, now we're looking at the end of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One life cycles. And here's DayZ launching. So, I mean, I think hats off to the development team for finally doing it. I don't really know what took them so long because I haven't been keeping up with the pattern of events or anything. I mean, I dropped after a couple of years. I paid attention for a while. But that was a big one on Twitch. Way back when, I mean, there were a couple of people that streamed DayZ, and they were the top dogs on Twitch because it was fun to watch. Today you hear about stream snipers and stuff. Well, DayZ was one of those games where people could get into games and, they'd either stream snipe or they'd participate in the stream. So sometimes you'd see 15 stream snipers or stream people who were watching a stream, and they would do everything that they can to find the guy that was streaming. And there was just a lot of funny events and funny situations that happened. And it's just one of those interesting games that I always... It kind of started the revolution that we have today, the H1Z1, which led to King of the Hill, which led to Battle Royale, which is now the craze. So DayZ and H1Z1, those games revolutionized the industry, but people want to give them the credit for it or not. And so seeing it launch, I don't know if it's going to launch any differently than what I experienced 8 years ago. I'm sure it's better optimized and all of that. But DayZ coming out in a couple of days, 10 days. And Joe, did you ever get a chance to see this one or play this one?
No, I didn't really get into that game at all because I'm not really down with one of those. Like Conan was another one of those games. It wasn't a battle royale or like that, but it was like a survival game, and that shit just gets really, really annoying to me. Like, you'll be so in the game, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're starving to death, or you need water. I'm like, oh my god. But I never really got into those, man.
Yep. Well, we'll see. We'll see what this one looks like. I wonder if it's going to cost money. I mean, I paid $10 early access way, way long ago. I still have access to the full game on the computer. But who knows? Who knows? Anyways, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to hit some questions. We're going to hit some hard-hitting questions with Joe Rubel, and we're going to dive deep inside the brain and the mind of Team Emar Gaming. Joe, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, get yourself ready. Pull up your pants, and let's do it.
All right, brother.
Alrighty, welcome back to the podcast, The Backlog Exposed, episode number 46, Joe. We're making our way down to the nitty-gritty. We're almost at episode 50. And as we approach episode 50, what I wanted to do was get the listeners to be able to understand a little bit more about you and to know Joe Rubel, the man, as opposed to just the podcaster and the Twitch streamer and all that. So, first question I have for you, Joe, is...
Oh, man, let's get it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we've talked a bit about this in the past, but let's just kind of put it all in one episode here. You've been with Leanne, your wife, for a long time. You got 2 kids. How long have you been with Leanne, and how did you meet her?
Well, I've been with Leanne now for about 18 years. Met her at a 4th of July party at my cousin's house. And after that night, that was it. That was the one I wanted, and that's the one we found, and we hit it off pretty good.
That's pretty awesome. You know, you guys have such a good relationship, good personality together. It's always fun to be around you guys. But she don't take your shit, like, you know.
Hey man, she's a trooper though. I mean, believe it or not, so I graduated in 05, she graduated in 03. I'm sorry, backwards. I graduated in 03, she graduated in 05. I went to the military and we did a long distance relationship for like 4 years. So I was in Illinois, I was stationed there. And I'd drive home every weekend to see her. And that's how we did it for 4 years. We ended up getting married in April of 2007. I deployed. That was my first deployment was to Qatar. It was out in the middle of the desert, which sucked. We were pregnant.
You played the guitar?
As we depicted. Oh, yeah, man. I played guitar in Qatar. We know about that. So we ended up getting married. Found out we were pregnant while I was deployed.
Oh, shit.
Came back. And even though we'd been together since like 2001, we actually lived together for the first time in 2007 in a little small town in Illinois. And yeah, man, she's a trooper, dude, because there's not a lot of women out there that could put up with the military life, man. It's pretty tough. And, you know, we had our first kid, and, you know, I ended up deploying again in 2011. I was gone for 10 months. Was gone for 2.5 months of training, and I was gone for 7 months in Iraq. You know, she had to raise Kaylee for the whole 10 months by herself. She didn't have any help from me. She didn't have a place to actually call home. She was going in between, you know, my mom and dad's, her mom's, and, you know, a couple of her friends up in Illinois. She was just bouncing around, taking suitcases. So it was pretty rough. And then came back from that. Man, speaking of that, she just brought me dinner while I'm on this podcast. God almighty, I love this woman. But thanks, babe. But you know, we did it again. You know, I ended up getting deployed to Iraq in 2012. Said all that. We made it back. I made it back, thank God. And we ended up having another kid, Caleb, and we ended up going to Maryland for 5 years, where again I was gone for. Yeah, that's where I met my boy Kevin. But in those 4 years, 4.5 years I was in Maryland, I was gone, give or take, I would say 10 to 12 days a month for 4 years. So you figure up that time, and you got to think, man, every time I leave, it was for at least 3 or 4 days. And she had to have Caleb and Kaylee, and she was working full time. And yeah, man, she's a trooper, dude.
That takes a special someone.
As much as he does.
That's hey. They say they make us, you know, and it's true, man. She held the family together for you, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So going back to the beginning there, did you know you were joining the Air Force before you met her, or was that a decision after you met her? And you know, how did that fall into place?
I was 15 years old, man, when I talked to my recruiter.
15? Holy
15.
shit! That should be illegal.
Yep, I was 15 years old, and I said, I'm going to the Air Force and I graduate. And he was like, okay, cool, I'll see you then. I'm like, no, I'm for real. I'm not going to college. I'm not. Matter of fact, I didn't take my SAT, my ACT, none of that stuff, man. Because I told them I denied it. And they're like, well, you got to go to college. I'm like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to the Air Force, and they're going to pay for it. And they were like, all right, whatever. And then, of course, every year the testers would come out and, oh, you got to go do your ACT testing and all this. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not wasting my time. I'm going to the Air Force. I'm going to the Air Force. So my parents actually had to sign a waiver form allowing me to join the DEP program, the delayed enlistment program, so I could actually start doing training and getting my name on the list to go on my job and getting a leave date and all that stuff. And I remember it like it was yesterday, dude. I was sitting at the kitchen table. The recruiter came over, Sergeant Singletary. Remember that dude? Just like it was yesterday. He told mom and dad, he was like, "Hey, your son's committed. He's been telling me this for a long time." And my mom and dad had to sign a piece of paper allowing me to go. And
Wow.
I graduated in, I think it was June. So we spent July together, and then August the 10th, I believe it was, or August the 11th. Yeah, it was August the 11th. I ended up meeting up there at the recruiter station. It was me, mom, and dad. Adam was there. Eddie Ron was there. Leanne was there. And yeah, man, they put me on that bus, and I didn't see anybody until the end of December. And then from there on, man, it's rest is history.
That's
I take
That's
that
crazy.
back. Leanne corrected me like she always does. I did see Leanne, mom, and dad at the end of October for my basic training graduation.
that's a flash in the pan for you
Then-
though, right? That's like a couple hours, and then you're back in the saddle, right?
Yeah, man, we were together, I think, 4 days, but I could only be with them, I think, it was like 10 hours a day or something like that. It wasn't a whole lot of time. And then I had to go back to the barracks and, yelled at and do this and do that. And then the next day we'd do it all over again. But it was weird, man, because going through basic was like, yelled at, this, that, do this, you had to do that. And then when you graduate basic, you go to your AFSC school that you have. And it's so late. It's so different. It's like flipping a light switch, man. One day you're getting yelled at and you got to do this. And the next day it's like, oh, congratulations for making it through basic. You're now a United States Air Force airman. And, now we'll treat you with respect. It's
Yep.
so crazy how
It's
it
like
just
overnight,
switched
right?
overnight.
Yeah.
Oh, it was literally overnight. I graduated one day, went across, Lackland Air Force Base to my technical school, and you're in a different world already. I mean, it was that quick.
Well, that's the job, right? For them is to get you prepared, and then once you make it and pass that test, it's like, okay, now you're just like them. They were in your shoes once. So
Yep, and that's exactly how they said it. They're like, hey, man, basic is just what it's for. It weeds out the people that shouldn't be here.
yep, you joined the military kind of knowing you were going to be away and not around the family, around Leanne and all that. But most importantly, you wouldn't be around video games for extended periods of time. What concerns did you have about that? Not most importantly, obviously, but no, seriously, like
I don't know, man.
know-
I didn't really. I always played a lot of video games, and when I was growing up. But whenever I met Leanne, it was kind of like the video games went away for a while because it was just me and her hanging out. We were
Yeah.
always on the road, hanging out like every day, or we'd always be in the car listening to music going down the street. But video games wasn't that big to me my last few years of high school. But
That's
once
kinda
you
funny
join
you
the
say that.
military, it's
sorry,
What's
not
that?
to cut you off. I was gonna say that's kind of funny you say that because I've kind of had the same thing. I was big in video games growing up, and then the last couple of years of high school, going into college and stuff, it kind of dropped off for me. But and then I picked it back up after college, I think.
Yeah, I didn't go to college, until I got in the military. But gaming in the military is a huge ordeal, man, because that's
It's
just
tough, right?
something we go to. I mean, like when I went to Iraq, I didn't take my PlayStation with me, but once I got over there, I think Leanne sent it to me a couple weeks, maybe a month after I was there. And I was like, "Hey, you're gonna have to send me something." I'm like, "I can't. This is boring." Because you get off, you work 12 hours a day, and you go to your room and you just sit there. So she had to send me something. So I ended up. That's where I really started picking it back up. Was when I deployed to my first deployment.
So getting into video games, and like we all know, you're pretty heavily into video games. I mean, you follow it pretty religiously and stuff. So what's your oldest memory of video games? Like, what do you recall when you think of not just like the good old times, but like what was the first experience you really had with video games?
I don't know. I can't remember my actual first experience, but I know what's my first experience, Lan? No, video game. Oh, talking about my deployment. She's still over there dreaming about the days I was gone, I guess. But I remember playing Sega Saturn with my Uncle Wilburn a lot, because that's the one he had. But I would say the craziest memories of gaming was with Eddie, Ron, and Adam. We would go on summer break and we would literally live in Eddie Ron's room for weeks on end, playing game after game after game, nonstop.
Any game or any
Beat-
specific type of game?
Oh man, anything that caught our attention. Like it'd be a game that nobody wanted to play but me. We'd play and beat it. It'd be a game that I didn't even want to play, but I would watch and beat it.
See, that's tough. You say you had 3 friends, but back then the systems only had 2 controllers.
Exactly. I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy, but I won't play them. I don't like playing them. Love watching them. I've watched Adam beat so many Final Fantasy games, man. Just sitting there. I used to stay out at his house, and he'd play Final Fantasy, and he'd be like, "Dude, I got this game. I'm like, "Nah, dude, put in Final Fantasy. Let's play this." And he's like, "But when you say let's play this, you don't even play." I'm like, "I don't want to play. I want to watch." And I would just sit there, man, and drink pop and eat chips all night watching this dude play Final Fantasy.
That's awesome. So when you think about like your favorite genre as a kid as compared to now, what was your favorite genre to play as a kid, and
Man,
what is it
growing
now?
up, I played a ton of fighting games. You know,
Like Mortal
all the Marvel
Kombat?
games. What's that?
Like Mortal Kombat or
Oh yeah, dude, we played all the Mortal Kombats growing up. I used to know all the fatality codes and all that stuff. Pretty much any fighting game. Because you got to think back when we were at Eddie, Ron, and Adam's house. That's the guys I hung out with all the time and played. We were always playing fighting games the majority of the time because it was just fun, quick, and easy.
yeah, and you could pass the controller pretty fast too.
Yeah, you just pass the controller to the next person back and forth. But I got into Adam's an RPG guy all day. I mean, he'd rather play an RPG than anything. I always loved racing. I remember playing Test Driver on the old PS1. I used to play those games a lot. But here recently, I mean, if I had to choose between a certain genre of games, I would choose racing over any of them just because it's so fun. Just for the fact that RPG is so diverse. You don't know what you're going to get with an RPG game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But you can dive into
At
a
least with
racing game.
what's that?
I was gonna say you could dive into a racing game and you know how long it's gonna take roughly. You know what comes next.
Yeah, I
and-
mean, with a racing game though, you can jump in, especially now because it's all free roam and you do whatever you want. You can jump into a racing game, play for 20 minutes, turn it off, don't play it for a week, turn it back on. You don't even know where you left off. You just start playing again. RPG is one of those games where you gotta play it and then you can't take long, breaks from it because you don't know where the hell you're doing. You don't know the story. You lost track of what you was doing. So it's kind of like once you get into an RPG game, you're kind of committed.
Would you say that racing games are still your favorite genre, or do you?
Oh yeah, man, without a doubt. I'm a huge racing fan.
But like you seem to play more Call of Duty or those types of games as opposed to racing games, or is it just
So I play Call of Duty only when Adam's on
okay?
or you're on. You will never see me play solos in Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty. None of that. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it at all. It's just one of those things I just don't enjoy because I mean, you put your headset on, there's nobody to talk to. It's like this is boring as shit. Okay, I'm gonna go try and kill these guys. But same with Adam. Like you will never find Adam on Call of Duty without somebody being on. Now Adam plays Far Cry. That's his game. He'll play what's the other one? Fallout. He'll play Fallout. That's his game. He'll play every RPG there is by itself. That's just what he likes.
Yep.
I'm the exact opposite. If I'm going to play by myself, it's going to be racing. Because, you don't need help in a racing game. So it's one of those things that I've always went to and was like, I'm just going to play racing. And same with him. He'll buy a game and he'll play it and be like, all right, man, I'm going to be on, Far Cry. Me and him ended up playing Far Cry together because it's a co-op game, but it's just one of those things that he plays RPGs, I play racing, but we play first-person shooters together.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, so with that though, like with the innovation of battle royale games and all that, and how that's kind of taken over, knowing that you're getting into the streaming and you're doing the Twitch stuff, is there how do you feel about that? Like as battle royale being that's where people want to watch. Obviously, there's other games that people want to watch. I mean, every game gets watched, but it's about.
Yeah, that's the problem I have, dude. It's the fact that I don't really enjoy streaming or really playing any game solo. To me, it's just boring. I'll do it, if I get on and I want to play Blackout and I'm on a stream, I'll play it, which I've done in the past. I've done a couple of streams where I played by myself. Matter of fact, I ended up getting my first solo win in Blackout. I posted it on my YouTube channel already, and that stuff was kind of cool, but it's just not something that I turn on the PlayStation and go, yes, let's play solos in Blackout. I'll text Adam and be like, hey man, you want to get on? He's like, oh, I'll be on in like half hour. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go race. Or I'm like, you know what? Well, here recently, I haven't had a racing game. So I'll jump on and I might play a solo game in Blackout, or I won't even turn my system on until he's ready. But I just bought the Crew 2, and that's the game I've been playing.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it actually, I don't think I've ever seen you play in any of these games by yourself. So, okay, so couple more, and then we'll wrap it up here. So, with esports actually being a thing, when we were kids, that would have been a dream of mine. Truly, like.
Oh yeah, EA Sports, it's in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I were my son's age, 7, 8 years old, and I could become an actual video game player for money, whether it be on Twitch or just go into competitions and stuff like that, my life would have been different, right? We both have kids now that are that age in the coming of age to esports in America. Do you think that esports is going to be something that continues to grow stronger and actually maintain maintain its importance in the world? And B, would you allow your kids to truly consider that as a career?
I'm not sure if EA Sports is going to be able to keep up with everybody.
No, not EA Sports. Esports.
Oh, esports. Yeah, definitely, dude. I mean, my daughter Kaylee and Caleb both, they play video games. Dude, they're good. I mean, he's
but as
7,
a father,
11, and
you'd be cool with her saying, "Hey, look, I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna do college. I'm gonna join Team Shifty over here and play Fortnite."
I mean, honestly, man, I wouldn't mind it, because at the same time, the more you push your kids to do something, the less they're gonna do it. So if you say no, you're going to college for 4 years, like as soon as they become a freshman, no, you're going to college. No, you're going to college. Well, guess what? The odds are they're not going to go to college because they're tired of hearing about it. Just like a lot of people that I hear playing sports. Well, why didn't you go to college? You were great in high school. They're like, I didn't even want to play in high school. My dad made me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You burn your kids out on shit, man. If you let them experience stuff and find out what they enjoy, yeah, man. If Caleb was 16 years old and was wrecking people every game, I wouldn't have any problem if Kaylee was that good and said, hey, I'm going to go try out and be on, Ninja's team or, be on Shroud's team. Hell yeah, go do it.
Nice.
And if you don't make it, your ass is going to college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Leanne came around the corner and she's staring at me bad. Kids are going to go to college, but they can test out gaming. Just saying.
Okay,
staring
so
at me, dude. Jesus.
I know we've. I'm causing an issue over here. No, so okay, another couple of questions. So we talked about this a little bit in the past, but and you don't have to get into too much detail. But so the origin of Team Emar, and not just the origin of it, but what does it represent to you as a symbol for you? Because you stand by it pretty proudly.
So it's funny, man. Team Emar Gaming was something me and Adam made up a long time ago. We used to be RAME, R-A-M-E. That used to be our clan tag, right? It stood for Team Ram Todd and Me and Not You, R-A-M-E. Pretty simple, right? We made that up. We ran with that. We used to be like Team Rame for like years. And then for some odd reason, we couldn't put R-A-M-E as our clan tag for, I forgot what Call of Duty it was. And we were pissed. And I was like, well, fuck it, dude. We'll just go backwards. We'll just do Emar. And he was like, I like it. Let's just go with it. And literally, that's where Emar came from. Team Emar Gaming, man. And we've been Emar for a long, long time. Like, you could probably go back to, I don't even know, man. Every Call of Duty that I can remember, we've been Emar as our clan tag. Even right now, if you log on to, our Call of Duty right now, Blackout, as soon as you're able to, I think it's like level 4 or whatever it is in multiplayer, or level 5, to put your clan tag on, it's As soon as we hit that level, boom, Emar. Every time.
That's awesome. So, like,
just some asshole out there decided he wanted to be Rain for whatever reason.
took it from you.
If you're listening, kiss my ass.
Yep.
That's all right, though. Now
you.
we're Team Emar game.
That's awesome. So, you know, as it grows and stuff, that I think it'll evolve into, you know, something bigger and broader. But right now, it's still, you know, it's still got that hometown vibe, that feeling of, you know, you and Adam put this together, and you know, I joke around and say I'm part of Team Emar, and you got Leanne and Ray and others.
Oh, you are, dude. I mean,
have
you played
participated.
with us for years now.
Oh, sure,
Of
sure.
course, Leanne's part of Team Emar Gaming. I mean, we're all doing it. It's just, you know, years and years ago, it was just, that's just how it happened.
No, absolutely. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, as it grows, it'll evolve, and but it's still got that core, you know, that core basis, and it's cool that you and Adam still play together to this day, given the fact that, you know, it was made so long ago. All right, so
a buddy of mine over in Mildenhall, Germany, his name's Alex Ray. He's another one of the Team Emar gamers, because when we played, him and Adam used to play Call of Duty together all the time, and he always joked with, "But man, what's this stupid ass Emar clan tag?" But his dumb ass would have it on with the rest of us, and he'd run it with his Team Emar. You know,
that's
being
awesome.
Dumb. But yeah, he's been playing with us for years too.
Ray's funny, man. I haven't played with him in a long time, but I remember teaming up with him, playing a lot of different games.
Yeah, I haven't played with Ray in a long time, man. He's on that he was on Destiny 2 for a long time, and then he jumped on Anthem. He's been on Anthem for heavy.
So okay, last two questions here. This could be simple, or it could be a long one, man. I'll leave it up to you. But pretty soon after this episode airs, I mean, you're going to be streaming live on Twitch on a regular basis. Your channel's going to be starting to grow. Why should people tune in to your channel?
Oh, that's a good question, man. I feel like a lot of these people that run Twitch forget where they came from, dude. Like, a lot of these guys are just in it for the money now. And it's sad to say. I'm not going to throw any names out there just in case somebody does listen to the channel. I'm not going to be that kind of an asshole. But you can just go to Twitch and you can see it. You can see it from the guy that's got 20 people watching him. He's humble and he's playing his ass off. And then you can go up, you know, all the way to the top of the page, and you can see X streamer with 49,000, you know, people watching him, and he's over there on his phone. He's eating popcorn, or he's talking to his friends, not even playing the game.
Yep.
Just not giving a shit, you know what I mean? And I think there needs to be more streamers that actually care about streaming versus, holy shit, I made it to the top, I don't care anymore, I'm going to do this, do that, and make all this money. Anytime I stream, dude, I have a good time. We're always laughing, we're always cutting up. 90% of the time that we're talking, it's not about the game we're playing, it's about other random goofy shit. Any given time, my kids could come through there and do Fortnite dances in the background. I'm serious, man. The wife will make a funny face when she walks past. I mean, I'm serious. Anything could happen in my stream. But I don't know, man. I think it's just something different, unique, and I'm just always having fun and laughing and cutting up, man.
That's awesome. No, so I don't doubt that one day you're going to have influence. And by influence, I mean, you know, some of these streamers can just say shit on their stream and things change in a game or an update, whether it be, you know, the days of, you know, like Ninja could just say something on a stream, and next thing you know, people are posting about it on the internet, and it becomes a thing in Fortnite or whatever, right? And I think that'll be, it could be you one day. I mean, if you really put your mind to it and all that, and I don't doubt that you will. I think, you know, we're a team here at this podcast, but you're gonna run with this shit, and as soon as people really catch on, it's gonna be interesting, right? So that's why we're doing this interview here, because I want to get the before and after, right? When you're wearing the gold chains that are 4 inches thick, and you got a grill made of gold and eyebrows made of gold. I mean, you're gonna be rocking and rolling, and we're gonna play this. We're gonna play this.
Stretching it there. I'm not gonna wear no chains, player.
But you will have the eyebrows made of gold, and we're gonna play that last clip back, talking about knowing where you came from, and I'm gonna say, Joe, you know where you came from, and you're gonna say, I can't talk. I have a mouthful of gold. But anyways,
you're probably right.
So last question here. One day when you're able, and you have the ability to influence the next Call of Duty game that comes out, whenever this may be, what would you do differently? And what would you try to change about the Call of Duty game as a whole, whether it be Blackout or multiplayer or zombies and all that? I know Call of Duty is one of your favorites. What would you do differently?
It's an easy question. I would definitely something that always pisses me off about Call of Duty is everyone that gets released, it pisses me off. They focus more on the core chapter of the game than they do the hardcore chapter of the game. Point fact is, streamers only play core. The reason behind that is they can be cocky more. And what I mean by that, they can jump out, they can try and go and get these 3 and 4 kills real quick while getting shot at from 3 or 4 different people and take a bunch of damage, right? You've played core, you've been there, you've done that.
Yep.
For me, when you go to Call of Duty right now and you look up core games, there's like 15 different versions of a core game. You know what I mean? And when you go to hardcore, there's like 5. And that pisses me off because it would literally take you minutes to change the algorithm of whatever set system you have to say, okay, well, these hardcore or core games can now be played in hardcore. Make some code adjustments, flip a switch, boom, you're done. How hard can it be? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's one thing I would change. If you're treating the core players as if they're better than the hardcore players. Or you're looking at the core players as a more, these guys play more, so we're going to give them more maps. I think it's bullshit, and I always have. Like, if core has 15 maps, hardcore should have 15 maps. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And, and people bitching and griping about weapon damage. I mean, it drives me crazy, like on Blackout. Oh, man, the sniper rifles hit too hard. It's a sniper rifle, bro. It's supposed to hit hard.
That's right. Yeah, if you can pinpoint and
if you got
hit
tier 3 armor on and the dude hits you from 200 meters in the head, yeah, dude, go down. You should instantly be dead. I don't give a shit if he was wearing God armor. That's as most realistic as it can get. You're gonna die. I wish they would have never nerfed the sniper rifles in this game. It pisses me off because people bitch and gripe about it. That's one thing that I wish a lot of these gaming companies wouldn't do, is listen to every little detail that these guys complain about.
Yeah.
It's part of the game, man. Like shotguns. Shotguns in every game are broken. They really are. They're just overpowered as hell.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I understand when certain things need to be fixed. Like the range of a weapon. Range of weapons should be realistic as they can get. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be able to hit you from 100 feet with a shotgun. Just saying. It's a shotgun. But if I'm 2 feet from you and hit you with a shotgun, you damn right you should die. That's what a shotgun does.
Unless you're Dick Cheney.
There you go. And you're hunting. Just saying. It's a true story. Look it up. I don't know, man. It's funny you said that. Like, people do listen to my mic. I'm not even kidding. You can ask Leanne about it. How many months ago was it, Leanne, when I said, I really wish Blackout would make a hardcore mode? Me and Adam talked about that months
you told me
and months ago, before there was even any chatter on the old interweb about it.
Yeah.
And by God, what did they do a couple weeks ago? They dropped a hardcore mode.
So is it out right now?
The hardcore, it sucks ass. Oh my God.
Why is that?
They are, I don't even know what they did, man. So, all right, they put a hardcore mode in, which is awesome. They give you no HUD, heads up display for, people that aren't familiar with shooters. Anyway, no HUD, right? You have no map. You have no indicator. You have no idea where the storm is at. You have no idea where the storm is gonna be. You have no idea how many bullets you have. You have no idea what health you have. Nothing.
Really?
Stupid. That's the dumbest thing ever. There is no armor, which is cool. I like that. Yeah, they just really jacked it up, man. I mean, all they have to do to make me super happy is put the map back in the corner of the screen and let me know where the hell the storm's at. That's it. For whatever reason, they thought it was going to be so awesome.
Yeah, they went too far.
Put any of that on there. They went a little too far. It's like, because me and Adam got quite a few kills when we were played, which is, because it's hardcore. You drop on somebody, they're done. They only have 200 health. There's no armor. you can destroy some people quick. But we were in a gunfight, and all of a sudden the storm's on us. Well, shit. How far do I got to run?
You don't even know
Where's
what
the next
direction you got to
storm
run.
Exactly. You don't have no idea where you're going. So I've got to notice in a lot of those games just ended, luckily, where you were at.
That's crazy.
There's some games I've watched where people would jump out and they'd never leave an area. They would just sit there and be like, oh shit, I'm still in. Good. Oh, I'm still in. I'm not leaving. Oh, I'm still in. And then the blue would get close to them and it would stop. Oh shit. Okay, now I'll move. So, it got to the point where it's just like real stupid. Play it. We played 5 or 6 different matches, and each time we either died to the blue or died fighting to get out of the blue. And
are there revives?
No, there's is there revives?
Like if you get downed, can your teammate pick you back up?
I think so. I think there is revives. Yeah, I believe so.
What about let's see. So I had another question, but I can't think of it right now.
But yeah, man, if they would just fix that, it'd be awesome.
Are the bullets stronger?
The TTM or the TTK time to kill is awesome. I mean, you can melt people now, man.
Okay, so it's they're stronger. Like the bullets do more damage or whatever.
Well, I don't know if it's where they do more damage or there's just no armor. Because like if you land in the graveyard, that's my favorite spot to go. Man, land in the graveyard. If you land in the graveyard, pick up a gun before a guy has a body armor, dude, you melt him. That's in regular mode. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So in hardcore, everybody's that way. Even if they have something, they only have 200 health max. And if you unload on them, they're dead. There's no tier 3 armor that you got to worry about or tier 2 armor. It's just straight one-on-one. My health versus your health. Who gets low first? You know what I mean? So that's what I liked about hardcore. I just really wish they'd put the map and the indicator back on. That's just stupid.
Yeah, that's great. I'm going to try it. I'm going to have to get back in there and try it. But that would probably drive me nuts. So, all right, man. Well, let's go ahead and we'll wrap it up unless you have anything else you want to talk about before we drop.
I'm good, man.
Well, I appreciate you answering those questions. I kind of put you on the spot. I told you I was going to send you those questions beforehand, but I didn't. But you held your own, and I hope that people
I don't mess around, son. This ain't my first rodeo.
That's right. That's right. I think it gives people some better insight into who you are as a person, and hopefully more of a reason to tune in. And when you tune in, make sure you're going to twitch.tv/TeamEmarGaming, right? And
oh yeah.
What's your YouTube?
Team Emar Gaming.
And what's your 20% off code for Lucid Sound?
Team Emar. LucidSound.com.
What's your website?
TeamEmarGaming.com.
Damn, man, this seems to be a pattern here. And as always, you can check us out.
Bro.
You can check us out at backlogexposed.com, anchor.fm/The Backlog Exposed. You can check us out on Facebook. We got Facebook/groups/The Backlog Pod. You can find us on Instagram at The Backlog Pod, and you can find us on Twitter at The Backlog Pod. We're trying to get more involvement there in social media. We're old men now. We're getting old. We got bad backs, we got bad hips, we got bad necks, we got bad arms. But we're
got
still
a blood clot in my left leg. Just throwing it out there.
Blood clots, carpal tunnel, man. But you know what? We're still getting on the Instagrams and the Twitters and the Snapchats and whatever the fuck else we have to do to make sure you listen. But the one thing I gotta say, goddammit, is get on iTunes and give us a rating. We have 9. We still have 9. I asked for 1. I want 1. One person.
Give us the rating on iTunes, please.
Yeah, just get us to 10, please. I mean, just go out there. I don't care what you give us. Just give us a rating and help us out because we're growing. We're doing what we need to do, and we really appreciate all the support. Joe, thank you again. Great episode, and we have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks as games drop and as this Firestorm comes out from Battlefield 5. Get yourself Battlefield 5 if you can, Joe, so we can play some of that. And as always, I'm Kevin.
I'm Joe.
And this is
The Backlog
Exposed. Thank you, everybody.